What
All
up,
right.
peeps? I'm Tony.
And I'm Cody.
Welcome back to Late Night Hobbies. Ladies, and gentlemen, I have been a fan of the Tau Empire, particularly the Farside Enclaves, since they're what got me into Warhammer 40K. And when 10th edition came out in 2023, I was a little apprehensive, we'll say, to the way that they were asking us to play Tau. And I had a few things that my friend groups were basically aware of, I think needed to change. I thought that Tau had a low strength. I thought that Tau lacked AP on weapons that needed more. And I was disappointed with the play style of sitting around and waiting,
Is it because it was the literal exact opposite of your 9th edition playstyle?
literally exactly the opposite of my 9th edition playstyle. Fortunately, James Workshop himself has come down and blessed us with literally everything I asked for in 2023 for Tau. And it's all brought up in the new Warhammer article on Warhammer Community. Posted on March 11th, fly close and unleash hell with a Tau Empire detachment full of battle suits. They revealed this to satiate the hunger of the people that, quote, are not up for ringing the Kroot dinner bell in the new Codex, which is me. They're talking about me.
I feel like it's like 95% of Tau players, and the 5% aren't actual Tau players.
It literally took... Yeah, that's true. Josh is the only person excited about the Kroot Codex.
And he's selling his Tau.
Literally sold his Tau. But it's almost impressive it took this long for them to make an actual... Like, the Codex is going to come out like next week, and it took this long to get a reveal of anything that was actually Tau. I'm a little impressed.
Good
It
job,
says
GW.
here... Do what?
I said good job, GW.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Better late than never, I guess. This detachment is for fans of filling the battlefield with high-tech combat walkers like a certain Red Renegade, GW says. And if you guys don't know who the Red Renegade is, you're watching the wrong
What
stream.
are you even doing?
They're literally talking... They put that in there for me. They literally... James grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, Tony, this detachment is for you. This is the Farside Enclave detachment. And that detachment is called the Retaliation Cadre. Its detachment rule exemplifies the daring of these bonded heroes by delivering a high-stakes, close-range playstyle where battlesuits descend upon enemy units and blast them to pieces.
Blast them to pieces.
I also love... the other thing where I say that this Retaliation Cadre is the Farside Enclave detachment is if you're a Tau lore nerd like me, you'll see that there are many references to the Farsight enclaves, many references to Farsight himself, and members of the Eight in these detachment rules in the flavor text. So, could be some interesting little tidbits in there for people that care about stuff.
Not to like jump off the train of thought really quickly, but what if they added the 8 to the Codex?
It's not going to happen. I would be...
I said what if.
That would be crazy. In fact,
I'd play Tau.
A Battle Force box that came with the 8 in the Codex would have been
Oh my god.
Dude,
oh my god. Do you know how cool that would have been?
I would have jizzed my pants.
Oh my god, that would have been the sickest thing ever.
That would have been the coolest deal they could have possibly done for this army. And now that we've said it out loud, James,
what are we doing?
I know that I'm very disappointed in you. Anyway, this detachment rule is called Bonded Heroes. Each time a Tau Empire battle suit model from your army makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within 12 inches, improve the strength characteristic of that attack by 1. If it targets a unit within 6 inches, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1 as well. Whew.
Woo!
So, this is a phenomenal ability. It doesn't sound like much. And I know that there are a lot of armies with access to +1 strength that doesn't matter. But with the way that Tau sits at like strength 8 and strength 9 on everything, +1 strength really crosses a threshold for tons of weapons. The main one being this changes the fusion blaster from winning on 5s to winning on 4s, and that's a huge difference into most targets. Obviously, you've still got toughness 11,
and I mean, even a lot of things too. Like a lot of popular transports right now are toughness 9.
right now you're winning them on 3s. You know, you just went from wounding not that you would shoot them into Terminators, but you went from wounding Terminators on 3s to winning them on 2s. +1 to strength for a lot of Tau guns crossed a huge threshold barrier. But even more importantly than that, improving the armor penetration characteristic of the attacks of all ranged weapons by battlesuit models is insane.
AP3 cyclic ions.
No,
Get out of here.
Fuck AP3 cyclic ion blasters. We're talking about strength 5 AP1 flamers. We're talking about strength 6 AP1 burst cannons.
It's definitely going to open up a lot of versatility in play.
This detachment rule is, what if you had 9th edition guns again? And yeah. I am so excited. It's not a game-changing detachment rule by any means, and I don't think that everybody is going to run it for that reason. You know, sustain hits 2 is literally changes the way the game is played when that comes into effect. Yeah. But what is going to come into effect and make people take this detachment even more than +1 strength, +1 AP are the stratagems that they've chosen to show off for this detachment. They've only shown us 2, so we have 4 enhancements and 4 more stratagems to see. But I'm going to let Willis start with our first stratagem here.
Well, I have one thing to add to that. So one difference in the detachment rule for this particular detachment compared to the Koyan detachment that they currently have is this is a 5-turn buff. And that's huge in my opinion.
I have never. You're so right. It's not as strong, but at the same time, lasting all 5 combat rounds is really big.
Yeah.
And this basically implores you to take nothing but battle suits, because anything you run in this list that's not a battle suit and is not guiding battle suits is almost wasted. But I mean, just the idea, Willis, how many times have I pot-shotted you with stealth suits, and it's just not done anything? You know, it's done very little. But just the idea that these stealth suits that are flying up the table and guiding anyway now get strength 6 and AP1 on their burst cannon. 8 burst cannon shots at strength 6 AP1.
Yeah.
Strength. Now the fusion blaster inside that unit is strength 10.
Well, and not only that, but like giving some of these guns AP1 in a lot of armies would essentially mean nothing because of the way cover works. But in Tau, you know, when you're playing against Tau, what is cover? Because everything fucking ignores cover.
No such thing.
So, get cover. It's a huge buff. On paper, in my opinion, it doesn't. You're like, you know, +1 AP. But when you actually think about it with the way Tau works, it's. Whew.
Well, the other thing with +1 for AP on most armies, most weapons, etc., is kind of like not the craziest thing in the world. But when you're talking about an army that all you do is shoot guns, and they say, what if we take every gun? Like, it doesn't matter on AP3 guns. It doesn't matter on AP2 guns. But on AP1 and AP0 guns, this is big. And the other thing is that this might bring back the smart missile system. Just not as an indirect fire infantry muncher, but as a close range ignores cover weapon. oh, I can't get a guide. I'm going to drop a unit of crisis suits with strength 6, AP 1, ignores cover shots.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I think the burst cannons should be back too.
Oh, burst cannons are so bad, man. The only thing that holds back the burst cannons is if you give up 1 strength, you get a flamer that's strength 5, AP 1. And I just cannot describe enough with the way that Tau works how good a unit of strength 5, AP 1 flamers is.
Yeah.
Right? I could cry.
Sure.
Now, before everybody gets too excited, just remember that, we're obviously talking about getting within 6 inches. So this detachment is going to benefit by spamming Deep Strike and spamming Cold Star Commanders, because you need to get up on the opponent as quickly as possible, and you need to strike fast, and you need to strike hard. Otherwise, you're going to be in some trouble. But man,
it's a good thing these stratagems make both of those things so much easier.
And the strongest one of these is called the Shortened Blade, which is a reference to Farsight, yet again. It is a strategic ploy stratagem, unfortunately, and it costs 2 command points. Made famous by Commander Farsight and his protege Brightsword, this philosophy encourages pilots to drop into the very teeth of the enemy army and apply their firepower at point-blank range. You will target in your movement phase 1 Tau Empire battlesuit from your army that is arriving using the Deep Strike ability this phase. The effect is, your unit can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 3 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. The restriction being, you are not allowed to target, you're not allowed to declare a charge in the same turn that a unit was targeted with the stratagem. Oh my lordy lord. So, this stratagem is really good and a little bit of a shame at the same time. The reason why it's really good is because it's 3 inches. I don't need to tell you guys that deep striking at 3 inches is good. I don't need to tell you that deep striking in 3 inches automatically gives you +1 strength, +1 AP. The downside to this is that it specifically says you select 1 Tau Empire battlesuit unit that is arriving using the Deep Strike ability. The downside to this is that they may as well have just said target crisis suits, because crisis suits are going to be the only thing you will ever use this on. Go ahead, Willis.
Well, I think that's not necessarily as big a bad side. It's it's a fair point, but it being 2 CP, kind of hurts too, in my opinion.
Well,
still totally worth it.
It's just crisis suits. If it was 2 CP and could hit, any unit or any battle suit that was arriving out of reserves, that would be different. I would love to pull a Riptide 6 inches from the edge of the table, 3 inches from one of your models on an objective, and smoke them with a Strength 7 AP 2 Damage 2 Heavy Burst Cannon. But I can't do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it should have been 1 CP, or it should have been a battle tactic.
Yeah.
But we don't actually know, what the enhancements are going to look like, or even if you'll be able to access 0 CP. But that would have been my thing. Leave it at 2 command points, make it a battle tactic, give Farsight Enclave an enhancement that allows the captain to reduce to 0 CP. That way you can drop 1 at a deep strike and have it not matter. But that's why, you'll probably see this get used once a game. But I think that the play is spam stealth suits, spam cold stars, come out of rapid ingress for 0 CP, and advance up the table. Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm seeing done with this. I will use this stratagem once per game to deploy Commander Farsight to absolutely buttfuck the shit out of whatever I need to put him in front of.
Fusion blasters, strength 10, AP 5, +1 to wound.
Oh yeah.
2 CP, done.
The better stratagem, in my opinion, is the Torch Star Gambit, which is a reference to the 8, by the way. Farsight Enclave. You target one of your models in the shooting phase, one Tau Empire battlesuit unit from your army that can fly, whose attacks have been resolved this phase, and if that unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move but cannot declare a charge. It's 1 command point. This is Strike and Fade for 1 command point. Holy shit. This is a 10-inch move on Crisis Suits for 1 CP. This is a 12-inch move on a Cold Star for 1 CP. This is better than dropping 3 inches. Or, if you're feeling crazy about it, the idea of dropping units 3 inches from anything and then moving them 12 in the same turn is just, what is happening? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is the... Go ahead.
I mean, 1 CP Fire and Fade, like, it doesn't get much better than that. Like, you use that strat for 2 CP now. Like, you're gonna spam it for 1 CP.
I'm trying to tell you, it's just obviously it's a strategic ploy. So no freebies, but it also can't have its cost increases, which I think it's better for this to be a strategic.
I 100% agree.
So that it can't be vexed. But oh my god, man, just this is what makes the heavy burst cannon with the Riptide strength 7 AP2. It's back, because the Riptide can double move, and that's going to allow it to get down the board really, really, really quickly, even though it can't advance. And that's what I see this being used for. It's 1 CP because firing Strike and Fade is basically in Kauyon. You want to shoot and then move back to where you can't get shot. But this detachment is just, I need to get as close to you as possible. So I'm going to move down the board fucking 20 inches a turn with the unit that I need to attack with when your next turn's done.
100%. Like,
also, just throwing out there real quick, I don't know what orcs are going to do against this detachment, because if you try and charge a unit of Crisis Suits with fucking flamers that are strength 5 AP1, you're about to have a bad time.
Yeah, this gets me so excited because I've, really really complained to you about your usage of Strike and Fade in the Tau army currently. And if you're not spamming this every turn, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion, in this detachment.
I'm trying to tell you, I don't see any reason why you should go through a combat round without moving 20 inches with a unit.
Yes.
Or God forbid, for 1 CP, you can potentially move a Cold Star unit of Crisis Suits
24 inches.
30 inches.
Oh, yeah.
Because in advance.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah.
He advances 6 inches automatically, Willis. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
It's not even fair. The idea that Crisis Suits will just jump the whole width of the table in one turn is so mind-blowing to me. They clear an objective so your Fire Warriors can score, and then jump 30 inches down the table to score the other objective.
Yeah, if you're not running a Cold Star with Crisis on the table to start the game, you're playing this wrong.
It's hot. It's looking hot. Unfortunately,
this makes me want to play Tau again.
It's making me want to play Tau now. The only downsides are, obviously, we haven't seen the rest of the stratagems, and we haven't seen the enhancements, which means everything can only go up. Because with 2, they're coming out of the gate strong.
That's what I was about to say. Even if this is the peak, this is a damn good peak.
Which what you guys are going to find out is that this is by no means the peak, and I'm going to call it right now. I think this is probably going to be even better than Codex Space Marines as far as versatility and what you can play, because when we're done with this stream, you're going to see that the stuff that they've got planned for this detachment it's really good.
Couldn't agree more.
I just realized we had somebody talking in here. Welcome to the stream, Moxie Kofer. So, you're going to hear us talk about crisis suits a lot in this stream because they've been the backbone of the Empire for as many editions as they came out in 2001. Tau came out, I believe, and they have been the backbone of this army, a multi-weapon platform since its inception, and they're going to Legends.
Yes, they are. It made a lot of people happy.
It made a lot of people happy, but a lot of people
until they kept reading.
It was a short-lived victory, let me tell you. Short-lived. The reason why crisis suits are going to Legends is because they are no longer going to be multi-weapon platforms. They are going to be specialized weapon platforms. Willis, if you'll scroll down, they've unveiled 3 new versions of crisis battle suits: the Fire Knife, the Sun Forge, and the Star Scythe. Now, what does this mean? It means that your crisis suits are no longer going to have 4 war gear slots that you get to put whatever you want in, and then they just, you build these units and put a commander in it. Instead, your war gear is going to be semi-locked to a specific selection that specializes with whether, the Sun Forge is going to be a heavy weapons crisis suit. The Star Scythe is going to be anti-chaff. You know what I mean? But they're going to all come with their own datasheet ability that specializes with those types of weapons. Now, we do not know what all of these abilities are, but as I'm going to let Willis read off, they did reveal what the Sunforge Crisis Battlesuit is going to do in this article right here, and it is phenomenal.
So, the Sunforge Battlesuit, its special ability is each time a ranged attack made by a model in this unit is allocated to a monster or vehicle unit, you can reroll the wound roll and you can reroll the damage roll. We now have Tau Attackers.
Oh my god. That was the sound of your tank when it reads this rule.
When Farsight drops in with his unit of Crisis, his unit of Sunforge Crisis, at Strength 10, AP 5, full rerolls to wound and damage.
So, let me tell you why you don't bring Farsight with Sunforge battlesuits. So, the fact that crisis suits now have their own abilities makes crisis suits better, and it makes commanders so much better, because the crisis commander has gone to Legends, which is a shame, and he will be missed because he had a really good buff. But the Cold Star and the Enforcer commanders, as you'll scroll down to the bottom here, have remained unchanged and will still be able to take all the war gear options that they had before. What this means is that you can pick the war gear for these abilities when you add them to a unit. Let me elaborate. So Commander Farsight would be fantastic because he would give +1 to wound to your fusion blaster, so you could walk into a toughness 10 tank and wound it on 3s and reroll all wounds. But you know what would be better than that? Sticking an Enforcer commander into that unit with 4 more fusion blasters that reroll all wounds.
Touche. Touche.
And there's going to be so much you can do with that, because what else has the potential to be effective on that commander? The buff is obviously intended to be used with fusion blasters because it has a damage roll, but there's no reason that you couldn't guide with the Tetra and stick an Enforcer commander 3 inches from an opponent with a shitload of missile pods on his back, and he just throws out fucking rockets at AP2 damage 2 and rerolls all his wounds into a monster or vehicle, wounding on 5s.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what the commanders can do more than I'm excited to see what the crisis units themselves do. Because, the crisis battlesuits are basically going to be good at the one thing that they're about to design them to do. But you're going to have so much freedom to really trick out the commanders to almost be like its own unit inside a unit. And that excites me a lot. I mean, there's just so much potential. I am so excited to see this.
Yeah, the versatility of Tau is about to go through the roof. We're going to go away from the only running cyclic ion blasters, and I think it's a good thing.
Well, I think it's a good thing and a bad thing because you'll notice that one thing that's not mentioned if you read through this article is they mentioned that the Sunforge is going to run fusion blasters, twin fusion blasters specifically. The Fire Knife will pick between plasmas or missile pods, and it says the Star Scythe will use a buffet of burst cannons or flamers. So this is where I kind of have an issue. And Frontline Gaming, if you read their article on this, they think the change is highly controversial to them and will be controversial to other people. And I kind of agree. And here's why the change is here's the bad and the ugly of this change. So, crisis suits are now going to change in points based on their war gear again, which is not something other armies necessarily deal with, although crisis suits were a particularly abhorrent example of why free war gear was overpowered.
Well, yeah.
That will be fixed because now, at the same time, you won't have to pay 200 points to have a crisis suit unit of flamers that's not worth that much. So, you know, there'll be some incentive to use it. Where this is bad is, you know, we're potentially losing some war gear slots. They did us wrong by the fact that GW doesn't mention the shield generators anywhere in this article is a travesty, because that's the first thing that I thought when I read this is, well, what's happening with shield generators? They aren't even shown on the models in these pictures, so I don't know if crisis suits will just have an inherent 4-up, if you'll be able to take it or give it up for an extra weapon slot. But what it sounds to me is when they say that the Sunforge has twin fusion blasters, we're not getting 4 war gear slots anymore. And that's the biggest loss to the old crisis suits, because I'm not saying that you would run a crisis battle suit with 4 fusion blasters on it, but you could. Now you can't. It can only have 2, which I think makes the Sunforge significantly less good than it sounds, because if even, you know, basically think of it as his ability is just twin linked with a reroll of damage. But I've said on countless occasions that I don't think twin link is as good as getting the extra shot that you got in 9th. I would rather just get 2 shots at 5-up than 5-up with a twin linked reroll.
It's definitely twin linked is definitely a controversial thing, and it's very dependent on the situation. Like some weapons, it's great. Like aggressors, for example, I would rather just have twin linked. But then there are other units, like the twin fusion blasters or whatever for Tau that, you're right, I would rather have the shot.
I'm going to go ahead and make a small prediction here. So, if they don't give crisis suits a 4-up invuln save, they will break Tau. I believe that all 3 of these will have a 4-up invuln save. I do not know whether or not it will be optional. So, I believe that they are going to give everybody basically a support system based on what their job is. So I believe that the loadout for the Sunforge battlesuit is going to be a weapon support system, 2 fusion blasters, and a shield generator. And I don't believe it might not even be optional in any way, but I can't imagine how much of it you're going to be able to change on these. I'm pretty sure that's just what you're going to get stuck with. I think that the Star Scythe, you're probably going to see it be able to fall back and shoot. That's the only thing that I think makes sense, and I couldn't tell you what I think about the Fire Knife. But I wish they would have revealed how the war gear itself is going to work, because a lot of people are concerned that you're not really... If you can't access 4 war gear slots, you know, it's going to really, really hurt how good crisis suits are. And they're not going to be bad by any means, but...
My personal hope is that they give you your 4 slots. It's just locked to particular. So, like the Sunforge, it has 4 slots. but its only options are a fusion blaster, and war gear stuff.
And that's kind of what I thought when this was first revealed. But the fact that they specifically bring up the Sunforge in this article, and they mention that the Sunforge melts down heavy targets with twin fusion blasters, and then looking through all these pictures, it kind of it's a little sus. It's a little strange that he only has 2 fusion blasters in the picture, and then a multi-tracker. No, I'm sorry, that's not a multi-tracker.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I think it's a little deceptive though, because like the Star Scythe literally only has a burst cannon,
Right,
and no target lock or whatever that is.
Right, which is the only evidence we have to the contrary. I am a little disappointed because you're probably going to see cyclic ion blasters disappear from Crisis battlesuits and be commander exclusive, and that's a shame. It's been a really good run. I've been running cyclic ion blasters as long as I've been playing this game. How many has changed since 10th edition came out? I'm not going to lie. It has quadrupled in quantity since 10th edition came out. But it doesn't look like Crisis Suit's going to be able to take them at all because they're not releasing a new Crisis kit at this time. You basically just take the Crisis models that you already have and change out their war gear. Lord help you if you are someone that has not magnetized your Crisis Suits before now. Willis, you getting on my ass.
You're welcome.
3 months ago and telling me to magnetize these fucking Crisis Suits. You have no idea how the foresight, the foreskin involved when you told godly, you saved me so much trouble, man. But the ability, they did reveal that the abilities on the commanders is also going to stay the same. So Enforcer commanders are going to basically give the entire unit a free Armor of Contempt, and the Cold Star is going to increase the movement to 12 inches for the unit and give them the assault ability. So I think that if the points stay the same, it's 50-50. I'll run 2 and 2. If the points change, you're probably going to see the Cold Star be the only commander that's worth running. Because, I'm not going to lie to you, Assault is just better than Armor of Contempt. 12 inches in Assault is just better than Armor of Contempt. You're talking because it's not just Assault. You're talking about Assault on a unit that always advances 6 inches. You're talking about an 18-inch movement.
Yep.
Willis, I'm going to let you get a word in edgewise here and tell us what you think about this change in general. What you think are the goods and the bads of this strange decision.
So I'm more of over my time experiencing GW announcements, I try to err on the more optimistic side in the sense that just because GW doesn't put it in the article doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I still personally am holding out a little hope that cyclic ion blasters are still a thing. However, I do think that it makes sense. They don't come in the kit, blah blah. But overall, I really like it. I think I think it's gonna be good to see. I'm excited to see how the points reflect.
I would love to see a 120 point unit of Crisis Suits with Flamers hit the table with Strength 5 AP1. Oh,
yeah,
I know
like
what you're thinking, but that would be crazy.
if it gets to the realm where you're getting a 3-man of Star Scythes with a commander for like 225, like it's going to be pretty spicy.
Which brings us to the last thing that matters about this change. I know I said I'd let you talk. I wanted to mention real quick that they specifically let everybody know that these are going to be 3 different data sheets, which means you can now potentially bring 9 full-size units of Crisis battlesuits in a game of Warhammer 40K.
That is 36 Crisis Suits.
Now, you can't really do that because since Crisis commanders are gone, you're only going to be able to take 7 commanders.
True.
If you're sitting there thinking, Willis, I'm talking Farsight's the 7th.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Okay, you kind of you were still sitting there like, how did he get 7?
No, I
I
was sitting there in
think
my
he's
head.
non-canonical, but he's in the game.
No, I was trying to debate the validity of taking crisis suits by themselves, and I think he could do it for the right points.
For the right points. Yet again, I'm going to keep bringing up the idea of an all-flamer crisis unit. Let him die. Don't even give him
Well,
the
they
damn.
don't. Why do they need a buff if they've got 3 flamers each? Like,
I can't even. That's my thing. The fact that they put the flamers on the same unit as the burst cannons, I don't know what buff that you can give that would help either of those guns that wouldn't just make the flamer an automatic take.
I do like the reliability of 6 shots. Are the burst cannons still 6 shots? I assume.
No, no,
Are they?
no.
What are they 4 now?
Burst cannons, I think, are 3 shots.
They got to be more than that.
Burst cannons fucking suck. No, I'm sorry. Burst cannons are 4 shots.
Yeah. With that in mind, you probably just take the flamers.
Take the
Uh,
automatic hit.
if it was ninth edition where you're getting 6 shots for your burst cannon, then that's where I could argue the burst cannon. But yeah,
Well,
if they're
if you were guaranteed max shots at 3 up, yeah, I could understand that completely.
yeah,
Um, oh, dude, we should have named the stream "Crisis Suits Go to Legends."
yeah, Clay put that in chat. I thought that was pretty funny.
But yeah, I think this is. I can see why Frontline said this was going to be a little bit of a controversial change, but I think that I am optimistic more than I know. I know I'm normally the pessimist. Willis will tell you that, but I am really optimistic that this change is going to end up being really good. And while it's not technically new battle suits, which was what I would have preferred, this is enough of a shakeup that this could be huge. This
Well,
could
and
be.
go ahead. Well, I was gonna say like for the whether you call it a side grade, downgrade, whatever you want to call it on the crisis suits themselves. Um, I think I think this detachment in itself is going to bring so much of a different playstyle to Tau, and that's what I'm excited about from this article.
Well, because this detachment is going to work so well with these new crisis suits. Dropping a unit of crisis suits 3 inches that is now in melta range with strength 10 AP5 fusion blasters that also re-roll damage and wounds.
Yeah,
Clay,
I
I'm sitting here when I say this. A unit of crisis suits 1-shots Magnus. There, I said it.
I think about it too, like being able to drop crisis suits 3 inches on an objective and flip an objective and
Yeah,
shoot something.
yeah. I love the idea of dropping in with 10 fusion blasters, which mathematically means 5 of these bad boys are getting through at D6 plus 2. I'm sorry, 5 of these are getting through your 4-up invuln, assuming that I'm rerolling. Tetris are going to let these guys reroll all hits, all wounds, and all damage. You're going to be relying. If you don't have a 4-up invuln, this unit just deletes you.
Yeah. I even think like the 3 inch deep strike is what just keeps coming back for me. Like the versatility of like a lone commander. Like you're never screening that. Like
Oh,
this
absolutely.
commander is going to land back here. It's going to blow your home objective to pieces.
Well, holy
And
shit. Well, if you don't have scouts, I don't understand how you can screen the unit of crisis suits.
yeah. I mean, if you're not playing Space Marines and got infiltrators, yeah, you're
Yeah, you have to keep
you're SOL.
you have to keep every other unit 6 inches from every other unit to stop these guys from getting in range.
Look, I've played, and Clay can attest to the bad touches of Inceptors. Now, Clay, that same thing that Inceptors did to you, Crisis Suits are going to do it to you.
Nowhere is safe.
Nowhere.
That game that I played against Ryan, where I almost lost to not being able to deploy a unit of crisis suits will never happen again.
It'll never matter.
Gone are the days of having to measure my deep strikes. I'm just going to put the crisis suits on the table, and when somebody pulls out the tape measure, I'll just say I'm spending 2 CP, and they'll put it away.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think there's a lot of potential here. I am so excited to see what the other two abilities are, because I normally love to theorize about this kind of stuff. It's one of my favorite things about reading these reveals, but I genuinely have no clue what those two abilities are.
I think Starside could be sustained hits against infantry.
See, the Star Sight can't be a hit roll based ability. I've already thought of that myself. I think it'll have anti-infantry, because if it has a hit roll based ability, it makes the flamer a never take.
That's fair.
I think it might have
Anti-infantry, like 3 up or something.
dev wounds.
I don't think you can give it dev wounds. I think that's too strong.
If you gave it anti-infantry 4 up dev wounds and the Star Sight unit 180 points, oh my fucking god.
Best unit in the game.
Holy fucking shit. Yes. Well, best unit in the game for killing infantry.
Yeah. Fair.
But I would just love the idea that I could, at that point, use flamers at a fucking vortex beast and just throw out a bunch of dev wounds on it. Oh, man.
Well, anti-infantry.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's still on a 6, I get a dev wound.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just got to throw enough shots, because assuming that we could still take 4 flamers, a unit of all flamers would be 12 plus the commander. You could potentially roll 16 D6 shots and automatically hit from one unit.
Fucking heinous.
And their strength 5 AP 1, by the way, with assault and 12 inches. God damn it, I can't wait. Please be dev wounds.
The fire knife, I think, is the one I'm most excited to see.
What's your opinion on what you think it'll do?
It's the one that I literally I don't know, because they advertise it as killing elite infantry. Man.
I hope it's not something fucking stupid like suppression. Please don't be suppression.
What do you mean by suppression? Like -2 to move or something?
That, or -1 to hit, or any kind of suppressive ability where if you land a hit roll. Like, I don't
know, man. If the fire knife's ability was a unit that it hit is -2 to move, advance, and charge, cool.
Okay, fair.
Cool.
It'd be kind of cool if it worked like Binding Tendrils, where it just fucking halved everything. That would be good. Maybe too good. It's not going to be that.
What did you say?
I said it would be cool if their suppression was like Binding Tendrils, that just half.
Yeah, I think that's too good. I think you got to do the -2.
Binding Tendrils is one of the best abilities in the game. Just the idea that because it's a Wednesday, one of Clay's fucking wizards can walk up to you and say, "Yeah, you can't charge more than 6 inches anymore."
Yeah.
But oh man, there was a lot. Honestly, this doesn't seem like the craziest. I don't mind battle suits going to Legends as long as the data sheets are actually create something interesting. Fire Knife is definitely going to be bigger infantry, elite killing teams. Sunforge had to be specifically designed around anti-vehicle, monster, or people will use it for the same thing. I agree with that, Zaffer. Before Fusion Blasters were always kind of a whatever take to me. But just the reroll all wounds and all damage against monsters and vehicles. Like I said, you could legitimately... Magnus the Red will shake in his boots if you drop a unit of Sunforged battlesuits in front of him at 3 inches. And That wasn't something you could do before. You didn't used to be able to take a Primarch off the table just because you felt like it from one unit of Crisis Suits. But I really believe that you could. This guy's get the fuck out of here, Cole. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, that's exactly right. The Norn Emissary has no chance of surviving.
Please don't bring the Norn Emissary up.
Oh, sorry. Willis is really sensitive about the new Tyranids models because they basically are all dedicated display models at this point.
Yeah, my Norn Emissaries look so good in my glass case.
So true.
Never on my table.
Anyway, you'll get there someday. Look at the bright side, man. When the Tyranid Codex comes out in 11th edition, this guy's going to be crazy.
Bruh, I'm already excited. Maybe I can finally play my bugs again.
Give you something to look forward to. So, we have a little bit of an exclusive Late Night Hobbies leak to reveal to you guys. And I'm going to, unfortunately, I'm going to let Willis read this one off because he kind of found it. Willis, would you like to reveal that you have a leak on the third detachment in the new Tau Codex?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Crew Rampagers thing I sent you.
We can get there. Nobody gives a shit about
it. All right. So yes. So there was a leak for the third detachment. The detachment of the Mont Ka.
The Mont Ka, baby, yes!
So this detachment's rule is called the Killing Blow. And its ability is, during the first, second, and third battle rounds, ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models from your army have the lethal hits ability. While a unit is guided, its ranged weapons have the assault ability as well. Whew.
Zafir says lethal hits assault on all infantry. I'm not aware of all infantry. Anyway,
all infantry, but
this is big because just like the +1 strength, +1 AP thing being something I said would be great, I mentioned to Willis, I believe in a previous stream, that for Mont Ka to be good, it had to be assault and lethal hits on the guide. But it's even better. You start the game with army-wide lethal hits, and when you guide, you retroactively become eligible to shoot if you advanced.
Whew.
That is incredibly strong. Because now I was talking to Clay today at the shop where he was kind of like thinking it wasn't as good as Sustain Hits 2. So when I say that this is stronger than Kauyan, I say that because Sustain Hits 2 works really well if you have more strength than your opponent has toughness. But army-wide lethal hits allows Tau to punch up in a way that I have never thought was possible. If you walk up with a unit of Crisis Suits with 36 Cyclic Ion Blasters that reroll all hits from Tetras, and you get lethal hits, and then get to roll everything else as a wound roll on 5s anyway, the amount of wounds that I can put through to something I should have never been able to wound in the first place is insane. You can throw 36 shots and put 20 wounds on 5s.
Bruh, I'm calling it now. One thing that I look for as an enhancement is in this detachment, in the Mont Ka detachment, one of these commanders is going to be able to take crit on 5s. I'm calling it.
Oh, 100%. And you also have to take into account that in the history of Tau, Kauyan has always had Exemplar of the Kauyan as a warlord trait. Mont Ka has always had Exemplar of the Mont Ka. So there's going to be one of your commanders and one of your units that's going to still get lethal hits and assault in Battle Round 4.
Yep.
So
Whew.
you're talking about a strong first 3 turns of this game, especially because this detachment, you can actually run enforcers in, which means it's even a tougher detachment than Kalyan, because everything's going to have Armor of Contempt when all of your crisis suits are going to have Armor of Contempt and Assault.
Yeah.
Ugh, Montka is better than I could have imagined. When I said,
One
go ahead.
one thing I wanted to bring up on that we kind of probably need to retroactively talk about that I don't know that you've thought about. The Auto Advance 6 on the Crisis Suit data sheet probably no longer exists, if I just had to guess.
Oh, damn. That is so fucking true. That's probably going to be exclusive to one of these units.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true. I hope that's
I,
not, because one of
I
the best.
envision that will be true, but yeah, hopefully not. But
That was one of the best things to come out of Crisis Suits this edition was the auto advance on a 6. I hope that that is not the case, because it makes both commanders less good, honestly.
well,
But
I think it makes the
particularly,
Cold Star even better because then you're just guaranteed 13-inch move.
well, if we're talking about Montka, it means the Cold Star is a joke. Like
Sure.
if you don't automatically advance on a 6, there's I just
Well,
that
I would look at I look at the Cold Star though as Auto Advance 3 because you're getting the +2 move and the say you roll a 1.
I guess that's true. Um, that's just I wish you wouldn't have said that.
I'm
Only
sorry.
because I'm so fucking disappointed that that's probably the truth. I hope they don't stick it on something stupid like only the guy with flamers automatically advances a 6, and that's his only ability. Like, please tell me, please don't take the ability of the original Crisis Suit and make it the exclusive ability of one of these 3, because that
Yeah.
would suck so bad. Oh, I agree completely, Zaffer. The Enforcer being better for Montka and the Kalyan being better for the Cold Star, it should be flipped. It feels like it should be flipped, but if Willis is right, it probably is not going to be that way. But yeah, so what we know about Montka is that you're going to have one unit that can go to battle round 4. That's pretty much a given. And we know that the detachment rule is going to give you assault on the guide. And golly, there's going to be a lot you can do with Montka, and I am thrilled to play with both of these detachments, and that's where I was saying that this Tau Codex might be one of the best releases of 10th edition, because we know that Kalyan is good. That's pretty much not disputed. Kalyan is a fantastic launch detachment if you can survive 2 combat rounds of sucking ass. And we know now that the battlesuit detachment is going to have, like I said, the detachment rule is not the craziest thing in the world, but it's 5 rounds, which also means, yet again, you know that Kalyan and Montka really only get 3 enhancements and then 1 enhancement for an extra turn. You don't have to waste one of your enhancements on that in the battlesuit detachment. So I'm excited to get an extra enhancement over there that you could potentially use. That's going to get ran. And Montka is definitely going to get ran versus these other codexes have come out and not really changed up the game much at all. Not talking about Necrons, but like the Tyranny Codex, to my understanding, people are running what they were before. The AdMech Codex is a joke.
AdMech is a joke.
Which we'll go over the AdMech eventually, but there's one detachment in there that is pretty much the only thing that's worth running, and everything else is just it's a waste of the paper it's printed on. But we now have 3 detachments that are going to be legitimately competitive, in my opinion. And we don't even have all the information yet. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I would run either of those detachments right now. I would run the fucking battlesuit detachment with 2 stratagems. I don't give a shit.
You did run it tonight.
The other 3, that's a good question. The other 3, obviously we've got the Kroot one, so we've only got 2 more Tau detachments to come out. I hope that one of them focuses on the auxiliary aspect of the Tau, which appears to have been lost by this edition. But I want a Daleth kind of detachment so that you can run Kroot and Tau side by side and get a bunch of buffs for doing that. Because right now, they're kind of acting like Kroot's just going to be Kroot and Tau's just going to be Tau, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Don't tell me Vespid's gone to Legends, man. No, Vespids can't go to Legends. They're on the cover of the new Codex.
Tony just ordered 3 boxes.
I just ordered 17 boxes of Vespid Stinglings. Don't tell me that shit. Yeah, if you pre-order the Kroot box, and that has that special edition Codex in there, you can see in the background there's some Vespids with the pulse blasters flying in the background. I was looking at it today, so I don't think Vespids are going to go to Legends, in my opinion. So we have one more leak that Willis wants to go over because I'm not reading it. I think it's disappointing, but are you going to pull these up on the screen, dude, or are you just going to keep leaving it on? That's a sexy ass picture, don't get me wrong, but
It's hard to bring it up without it being plagiarism.
No, because we're a news source. So we're transformative content, Willis.
I don't know. One of these things is directly stealing from someone else. But the Crutox Rampagers were also kind of revealed. So we don't have an actual data sheet or anything, but we do have some bullet points about them.
Yeah, we just know everything that's
pretty much. So they do have a scout move, which is pretty cool. Interested to see what that is. I'm interested to see what their base move is. I would guess 10 inches is my guess.
At least a 7-inch scout.
Yeah, so pretty good. Their stat line is toughness 6, 3 wounds a body. So, I mean, that's about in line to what we were saying. I think that's a pretty fair stat line for them. I'll be interested to see their save and whatnot.
It's probably going to be 3 or 4 up because that's pretty much. So
if it's 4 up, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, Zaffer, while you're mentioning pre-orders, everybody needs to go ahead, and if you plan on playing Tau when this drops, you need to go ahead and order some Crisis Suits, and you need to go ahead and order some Commanders, because when the Codex drops, you're going to see them go out of stock for a month, and you're just not going to be able to build the shit you need to really fool around with this Codex. I've already ordered mine. I'm going to build 2 of each, and if I got a proxy, I got a proxy, and I've ordered 6 more Crisis Suits. I would recommend everyone do at least the same.
And Zaffer, I don't know where you're located, but if you're looking for the box, come see me. I have them available for pre-order now. I'll be ordering them tomorrow, and I have plenty of extras.
You ordered mine, right?
Yes. Zaffer, you're in Washington. That's fantastic. We're in Alabama. I do have a website.
Washington? Just drive down here, bro. We play every Wednesday. No,
Washington State.
State. Did I stutter? Did I stutter? We play
on
Wednesday.
Drive, man.
You're not a real Warhammer player unless you drive from Washington State every Wednesday to buttfuck Alabama.
We need to put the store link on the panel, Tony.
So for the record, that's where Willis and I get our experience from. he owns a shop, and that's where we play Warhammer. He's kind of gotten us all into it. Anyway, back to the Crew Talks writers. So I'm going to read off the data sheet of the original Crew Talks writer real quick, which is also going to be in the box for the record. And I don't believe the data sheet is going to change much. But for the record, it's toughness 5, 7-inch movement, which is where I got the 7-inch scouts from. With a 6-up save, 4 wounds, leadership 7, and OC 2. I don't think they're going to stay with a 6-up save because that would be fucking terrible. But
yeah, you can't have a melee unit with a 6-up save.
You're not going to see this unit get a 2-up save. I just don't believe it. It's either going to be.
I think 3.
They are pretty tough in the fact that they have 4 wounds, but if you like, a stiff breeze is going to remove Crew Toxes from the table.
Yeah. These new ones gain a toughness but lose a wound, so kind of a wash.
Well, we don't know that won't be just the new Crew Tox profile. Might be 3 wounds and
for sure
toughness 6. Now the pistols and hunting lances are their ranged weapons. It's 2 shots each. 2 shots each. One is strength 4, one is strength 5. They're both 1 damage. Doesn't appear to have any AP on it. And then the melee. Now, keep in mind, none of these have extra attacks, which is a wet fart. But the Crew Tox Rampagers, they have hunting blades on the riders, which are 3 attacks at 3 up, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1, and lance. So, not terrible. You get +1 to wound on the charge. Go ahead.
I think on the actual data sheet, you will see one of these have extra attacks. I think the hunting blades will be extra attacks.
I hope so. If it's not, this is like really not crazy. But the Rampager fists. Now he says plus Rampager fists, so it's possible that the fists have extra attacks. But
yeah.
The fists are actually pretty good. They get 4 attacks at 3 up, strength 6, AP 1, damage 2, with sustain hits 1. So they have the Crute Line Breakers ability. Each time this unit ends a charge move, select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of it and roll a d6 for each model in that unit that is within engagement range of that unit. For each 4-up, that enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. If 1 or more enemy models is destroyed as a result of these mortal wounds, the enemy must take a battle shock test. So, I'm on the fence about this because these kinds of abilities, I've always kind of been on the opinion that these are pretty irrelevant, and I don't really consider them when I'm playing through a match as a threat. But this one deals D3 mortal wounds, not 1.
I was about to say, but based on this, it sounds like you're going to be able to take them in units of 1 to 3. So a 3-man unit, that's 3d6. You get 2 4-ups. That's 2d3 mortals. Just
right. It's the potential. It's basically, these are monsters with a tank shock. A very powerful tank shock. But the potential to throw out 9 mortal wounds on the charge is enticing. It's not going to be very consistent, but it is additional damage. I like the fact that if you destroy a unit with the mortal wounds, they take a battle shock test. The reason why I like this is because out of phase battle shock is never good because you don't score and it's really inconsistent. You know, I'm going to end up battle shocking something that I don't want to attack, and the only benefit is that can't be used. That you can't use a stratagem on it. But this one has a very direct, I'm going to battle shock the thing that I am going to attack this phase right now. So even though battle shock is really easy to pass, the idea that on the charge, you have a pretty consistent chance to force a battle shock test and keep them from using a stratagem like Armor of Contempt makes this unit a lot more consistent. You know, I would say you could probably gamble on half the time they're going to go into a unit that can't protect themselves with a stratagem. And that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But The AP is not very high. The AP is not
If,
very good.
if it was AP2, I would be very excited.
AP1,
AP1,
not
ugh,
good.
it's like a wet fart.
I'm telling you, AP1 in ranged is already like not crazy, but AP1 in melee is. Why would you put yourself in melee to throw out these
Well,
attacks?
AP1 is better in melee than it is in ranged because in ranged you get cover, but it's not good. Like, not here to argue that.
Well, the saving grace is like you said. They're probably going to be able to be taken in units of 1, 2, or 3 because let's see, the crew talks that we have now is the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I think if this is a 90-point unit, I think it's honestly pretty fine.
Not going to be a 90-point unit. It's
I'm
better,
telling you, man.
better in every way than the crew talks rider we have now, and the crew talks rider we have now is 35 points a model. I guarantee you the Rampagers are going to be 40 points.
If they're 40 points, they will literally never get. Not only will they never get played, they'll never get built.
I don't dispute that, but I'm saying these guys are not going to be cheaper than the guys that have a gun that makes 2 shots.
But melee is better, Tony.
Shut the fuck up, Willis. The crew talks. It's 2 shots at AP 0 damage too. It's just if they think that that's worth 35 points, these guys are going to be 40 points. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me dream, Tony. I've already pre-ordered 3 of these boxes so that I can run 9 of them.
Lying. You're fucking lying. But I'm going to be honest, man. Not really excited about the Crew Talks Rampagers.
I'm not excited about Crute in general.
I'm not excited about Crute in general. I really think that the hardest that they're going to hit is with these mortal wounds.
It's probably fair.
Because you're thinking, God, the strength 6 is pretty good. But you're talking about hitting on 3s, winning on 3s. The unit makes 12 attacks. So you lose 3 attacks to your hit roll. You lose 3 attacks to your wound roll. And then you're AP 1. So at best, the opponent saving on 2s. So a unit of these guys for 120 points can probably kill 3 Space Marines plus
I was about
whatever.
to say, a unit of 3 of these definitely does not kill a unit of 5 Space Marines.
No.
No chance.
Only
no chance. Unless you spike the mortals.
Yeah, you spike the mortals, you can kill a 5-mana Space Marines, but these guys are not picking up a unit in 1 activation by any means. But they do look marginally tough. I just wish the fact that they didn't reveal the armor save says to me it's not going to be a very good armor save. You think it's going to be? It's surely not 6 up. It's surely not.
I expect 4 up, but I'm hopeful for 3 up.
It's gonna be fucking 4. It's gonna be fucking 4 up.
It's gonna be a fucking 5 up, and I'm just gonna cry.
It's gonna be. I can hit you with my burst cannons in my new detachment and pick up.
God.
Hell, with a 4 up, you can hit them with the old burst cannons and pick them up. But anyway, bye. Golly. You know, I was talking all that about the grenades with the Fire Warriors today, and like, why did I not throw a grenade at that Vortex Beast? Why did I charge that Vortex Beast with a Tetra instead of throwing a grenade at it? Goddamn, Willis, what the fuck are you doing? Story time for anybody that cares. We were playing at the shop today, and I had like a Vortex Beast that was on 1 wound, and I had to remove it from the table. It was going to be a rough time. So I have a unit of Fire Warriors that's like standing. I'm pretty sure he was standing close enough to throw a grenade. And I keep forgetting that my Fire Warriors can throw a grenade. I've got 3 fucking command points, and I charge a Tetra into the Vortex Beast and throw out a tank shock, which granted, it works. I rolled 3 dice. I get 2 5s. He saves 1 with a feel no pain and dies. Granted, it worked, but I just thought of it now as we were talking about all this stuff. Why didn't I throw a fucking grenade? God damn
That play has to have like a 5% success rate. And I'll be damned if he didn't pull it off today.
You got to believe in the heart of the dice, Willis.
Tony is the person when it comes to getting rewarded for something he should not in Warhammer. Tony, you have to play the game assuming he will get it.
No, that's exactly all of my opponents that I faced in tournament. I found out the hard way that I am nowhere near on the same level of Warhammer player as Willis, but God damn it, I am the luckiest Warhammer player you've ever faced. I can roll. I have literally Overwatch. Willis and I are standing in front of the dice tray, and he moves a Death Leaper or whatever it is with lone op within 11 inches of a broadside. And I was like, fuck it. I want to Overwatch this guy because I've got assassination. And he said, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I got plenty of command points. I'm going to do it. He said, that's never going to work. I roll the first dice for my rail cannon, and it rolls a 6. He goes, what was that? I said, that was the first shot of the rail cannon. He's like, are you sure it wasn't a Anyway, I was like, cool, that'll be the plasma rifle. So this will be the first shot of the rail cannon. Boom. Roll another 6. But he's sitting there. I could see the beads of sweat dripping down Willis's. Roll out the third shot. 3 6s in a row. He lifts his head slowly, makes eye contact with me, and goes, roll it again.
God, it was that moment in which I just got to come to terms. We can talk all the shit we want. I just will never beat Tony. It's fine. I don't care.
Roll is all it takes. The greatest use of there are tons of moments I've had like that where I've just been rewarded for a command point that should have never. Golly.
Didn't you Overwatch Magnus off the board with a Town Heart?
At the beginning of the edition, when the Supremacy Armor was like really good, I was playing against my buddy Clay, and he's running Thousand Suns, and my Supremacy Armor is standing there, and he moves Magnus turn 1. He selects the movement buff, and he moves Magnus down the table within 20 inches of our Supremacy Armor, and so he's got the movement, not the -1 damage. And I said, I'm going to Overwatch Magnus. And he goes, you're going to what? I said, I'm going to Overwatch Magnus with the Supremacy Armor. And he's like, what's the range? I said, well, you're within 24 inches. He said, yeah, but what's the range of the gun? Anyway, so I rolled it out. I rolled a 6 to hit on the Supremacy Rail Cannon. And he's like, okay. So what is that, like wound on 3s? I said, it's strength 28. It wounds anything in the game on a 2. And he's like, oh, okay. I roll the wound. Boom, it's another 6, which is devastating wounds. And Clay's standing there, and he's like, yet again, beads of sweat. And the man's like, okay, so that's like, what, 14 damage? I said, it's actually 16 flat damage. And so he kind of just stands there, and then he just picks Magnus up off the table. I said, what are you doing? He said, Magnus has 16 wounds. So, yes, I have spent 1 command point and Overwatched and one-shot a fucking 400 point model.
Look at the chat, Tony. Poor Clay. Laugh at that one, Clay.
You started it. I've spent a lot of command points that were just worth a lot of money. God damn. Can you imagine in a tournament? I should have taken the Supremacy Armor to a tournament while it was cheap.
Yeah, should have.
Can you imagine? You know what would have been funny? Overwatching one of Chris Hall's nights.
He would have scooped immediately.
Scooped him. If Magnus the Red dies on Chris Hall's list, he scooped and he leaves. Oh my God, I'm sweating. I'm laughing so hard. What the hell were we talking about? Crew Talks Rampagers.
Crew Talks Rampagers, baby.
I don't remember what this had to do with anything. Oh, it was because I brought up fucking grenades, and then you were talking about how I get rewarded for shit I shouldn't, which is absolutely true.
You get rewarded for bad plays all the time.
You need to learn how to play Warhammer from Willis, but like, you need to learn how to think outside the box from old Tony right here, because sometimes you gotta go against the grain with your moves if you really want to win at the game. You gotta catch him off guard. You think Clay had set himself up to avoid a tank shock from a Tetra? No, he didn't set himself up to avoid a tank shock from a Tetra, because that's the only kind of person making moves like that is Tone the Bone Malone. I'm that guy.
God. Oh, Glizzy McGuire.
the old Glizzy McGuire.
You gave fucking that Vortex Beast to Glizzy McGuire.
Yeah. Bobby Broccolini.
Briccolini.
Oh, it's Briccolini. Bobby Briccolini. Is that like Bob the Builder's brother? Italian cousin?
Yeah, he stays bricked up, if you know what I mean.
He's bricked up. So anyway, Willis, what are we thinking about Tau Codex, and then what are we thinking about the Crew Codex? Let's get some last thoughts in here.
I think that this article and the one leak I've seen have me pretty excited. Makes me want to dust the towel off. Yeah, I'm overall pretty excited. I think it's just going to open up so many new play styles for Tau, and that's always a good thing.
This is going to be the first codex that's probably worth the money. If they put out...
Yeah, can you imagine all the people who bought the Dark Angel box and got that codex?
Yeah,
like we're going to buy this Tau box and actually be happy when we open the book.
Oh, shoot.
Is the Discord invite only?
It's supposed to have... It should be linked to the stream, but it appears like it doesn't work. Zaffer, if you put your ID in the chat, I will add you. And
Zaffer Art.
Hang on, spell that out to me, Willis. Let me add this guy and get... We got to figure out why that's not working in the future. How do I add somebody on Discord? Oh, I see it.
You're the Discord guy.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Get fined for what? Leaking information from your WarHammer rep? Let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Oh, I'm spelling it way wrong. There we go. Okay, brother. Just accept that friend request and I will add you to the Discord if you're interested. I apologize. The link's not working. I think it was working the other day. I wonder if it was just a temp link by mistake. But I think that this is going to be... I'm really excited. I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little worried a week ago, wondering if this codex was going to be any good, or if we were just going to keep playing Kalyan, because that's kind of the trend that they've set. You brought up Dark Angels, which was the right thing to do, because those motherfuckers bought a full price codex in a pre-order box, got a detachment they already had, one detachment that is basically a meme list as a rule set, and then one detachment that might be pretty good. It's better than the one they already had, but that was a low bar. And that just sucks.
Yeah. Might be good and better than what they had are two different things. And it is, in fact, better than what they had, not is good.
Well, I think there's some potential. I think you gotta like give it a little more credit, because it also has... Ben was that there's a stratagem in there for Deathwing keywords can deep strike at 3 inches.
That's fine and dandy. The problem is when they deep strike 3 inches, they're hitting you with wet noodles.
Fair.
They're basically hitting you with a water gun. And,
I thought that it gave a bunch of stuff to Deathwing keyword to run that detachment. I guess I could have been wrong.
None of it was good because nobody plays it.
Anyway. But yeah, the Codex game has not been for people. It's but this one is going to be... I really think that Kroot will be playable. I think that Mont Ka is going to be a legitimate contender for the best. I think the Battlesuit one is going to be you know, our Iron Hands,
The
people will
battle suit one is going to be, in my opinion, the battle suit one is going to be very playstyle dependent. So, if, like,
right.
for you, for example, it's going to fit you like a fucking glove. But
I
other people, it's,
I might jump up 10% win rate just by having a detachment rule that like literally tells me to just, you and Ryan are like, play the game right, play the game. And Games Workshop was like, no, give in to your temptation. Put them all on the table this turn, Tony. Why wait? They can be killed
why wait?
now.
Do it now. It's just Darth Sidious in the corner. Do it.
Give in to your hatred. Oh, I gotta look at. He posted a Kill Team Won a Paint competition. That's cool, man. We'll have to. Did you post it in the Discord? We'll have to take a look at it after this. But my last thoughts on Kroot are, they're not giving us very good signs. And also, we don't know what the detachment rule is going to be. But I am not. This detachment rule would have to be really good if, one of the main frontline models that they showed off. Basically, the only thing that we know what it's going to do is this wet towel flick of a melee profile, and Kroot Hounds can advance in charge. Is that really Is that what this is going to be about? If Kroot Hounds have AP2 on their melee, I'm going to lose my mind. But I'm not really. Kroot is going to need a really good detachment rule for making up for models that are really just not looking to shape up to be particularly effective. But we don't know what the points are going to be yet. I'm certain that it's going to be a real horde list, but you can't just put a bunch of models on the table and win. That's just, the game is so much more nuanced than that. So they're going to need, basically, the only abilities that they've shown off, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The only abilities that they've shown off are all to increase your damage potential with Kroot. But the damage potential on Kroot is still not very impressive. So what am I supposed to do with reroll all hits? What am I supposed to do with advance in charge? If the profiles that I get to swing when I get in the charge range, when I get up to the target I reroll hits against, is fucking AP1 strength 6 damage 2. Not the worst thing in the world. You are not going to see these guys. You're going to have to charge a lot. You're going to have a lot of models for this to be a good horde, in my opinion.
Yeah, like literal metric fuck ton.
20-point Kroot Rampagers. But I don't know, Willis. It kind of seems like Kroot is not gonna. I'm a little worried Kroot's not even gonna get off the ground, and Josh is gonna have sold his towel for no reason. Dude, Josh is gonna be rolling in his grave when the Codex comes out. We get 2 more phenomenal detachments. He's like, "Fuck! I want to play Tau." God damn.
100%. And I know for a fact he's going to do it. He's going to text me the day this Codex actually comes out, and he's going to be like, damn, I want to play Tau now.
No, what it'll be is you and I will both be playing Tau, because I know you're going to try it out at some point, because the Codex is going to drop. I'm going to build a retarded list that starts winning, and you're going to get that God complex that you always do and go, let me show this kid how to build a real list.
Teach a young man some respect.
But then you're going to fucking play against Josh, kick his ass with Tau, and the next time you see Josh, he's going to be like, so yeah, I started up another Tau army. He's going to come up with a bunch of bear plastic. Buddy said that if the Tau Codex is good, he's going to buy his Tau back. So hope he's saving up his money, because it's looking to be. I really think this is the best Codex we've had released yet, and we still haven't seen. Willis, we haven't seen the enhancements yet.
We haven't seen that Farsight data sheet either.
Oh man, I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to bring it up right at the end. But for the record, it was strongly believe that, like, when Farsight's new model came out, I don't think anybody really expected for him to get a new data sheet, but people were hoping that he would because they had all this lore with the new battlesuit he has, with the talisman of Arthas Malik in his gauntlet, and all this blah, 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 blah. Model comes out. No new data sheet. Okay, cool. 10th edition comes out. No new data sheet. Not just is there no, except the buff hounds. Get the fuck out of here. No new data sheet. And all of his stats got worse. Like, Farsight's new model is worse than his old model was in Ninth. Because he's bigger, he's easier to hit, and he's worse in every way. Besides, they gave him +1 to wound, which is like, okay, it's +1 to wound at 9 inches is not by any means a bad ability, but not that great. So
Yeah.
For the record, if you guys have looked at the reveal of the box pre-order, you'll notice that you get a pack of data cards that with all the new stuff on there. And I'm not saying that James looked me in the eyes and he said, "This is for you, Tony." But they put Commander Farsight's new model as the cover. I think Willis is about to pull it up. As the cover of the data cards. So it was kind of like Willis. It was kind of like James Workshop walked up to me, like fondled my balls a little bit and said, "He's in there. He's in there."
Just you wait.
I hope that Farsight goes up to 6 attacks. I think AP3 damage 3 is fine, but I hope it's 6 attacks. I hope that his plasma rifle gets a little more than 24 inches, but that really wasn't the craziest thing in the world. I hope he gets his 2-up armor save back. If he gets more wounds, he had 7 in 9th edition, but it's not like 7 versus 6 is the craziest thing in the world. But if he had a 2-up armor save again, I think that would be the biggest difference. And the last thing is, I thought in 9th edition that Farsight was going to... It strongly made me think that he was going to get a Nova reactor like the Riptide. And since 10th edition is full of characters that get a pick 1 of 3 ability on their data sheet, that would be perfect for Farsight to get a Nova reactor. And Willis, could you imagine if Farsight could charge his Nova reactor and get a 5-up feel no pain? And reroll
pretty spicy.
If he had 6 attacks and access to a 5-up feel no pain to melee, he could actually survive at activation. He might actually get to fight twice in the same battle. Do you know where this is?
No, I can't find it, so I gave up.
Is it in the original article? Do you scroll down?
It was, but I could. Yeah, I looked. But
no, I mean, is it in that one that you're in now?
No.
Scroll all the way down, see if there's a link. This is, I mean, I don't think anybody's more,
but whatever.
But anyway,
GW just doesn't want us to see it.
To get them on Tuesday.
I will probably have them like Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah.
And you're talking, when you say Tuesday, you mean Tuesday the 19th, not Tuesday the 26th.
It depends. So, because I saw somewhere that their technical release date isn't until the 30th. So it'll kind of depend on that. I should know more tomorrow. I talk to my rep tomorrow.
But for the record, I have been told by Mr. Willis that there is no reason that we can't, give y'all a little early taste of what some of these rules are going to look like. So if you guys are excited about the Tau Codex, if you're excited about all of that, get your news here first before anywhere else. We will have the detachments, the enhancements. There will be a full stream going over the Codex before it goes live anywhere else. So follow us on Twitch, join the Discord. Well, got to fix the link, but join the Discord. Let me post my username. Just add me if you guys are trying to join, and I will add you in there, and we'll figure out what's going on with that link. I'll have to do it tomorrow, though. But follow the stream. Follow us on YouTube for the old episodes in the archive. Follow us on Discord. And stay tuned, because the Discord is going to be the first place we announce when the stream goes live. And we will go over the Tau Codex before anybody else. So if you're a Tau fan, if you're a Kroot fan, the one of you out there, you don't want to miss this. So get hyped. I have been Cody. You have been Cody. I'm not Cody. This has been Late, and we are going to see you all next time.
See you guys.